Hi guys, and welcome to Power Poppy. I'm Allison Cope, and today's Inspire Me Monday is all about having fun with the little stamps. You know what? I think sometimes the little stamps are just as much fun as the big beautiful bouquets. You can have so much fun with them, so that's what we're going to do today. So today I started off with a piece of grid paper. And this is 6 inches by 6 inches, and it's just easier to use grid paper because you can position things a little bit easier. I have taken the grid paper and sectioned off each individual inch. That will also make my job easier. I've put the word top in pencil at the top because it's going to aid in positioning everything. Now, I've gone through a variety of stamp sets, and we have some amazing stamp sets with funky small stamps. There's Bow Wow Wow. It has some pom-poms and holly and a heart and snowflake and some cool sentiments. There's some snow and snowflakes in the Action Santa set. We also have some cool individual like bells and mistletoe and cookie cutter shapes from our fully stocked stamp set, and this one is going to rock this technique. This is the Merry Littles, and it has a whole trend of all kinds of different fun stuff that'll be perfect for this technique. And even our gorgeous botanical tree, there's some really pretty poinsettias, and even some of the words might work with this technique. And we have this one, wreaths, plain and fancy, and the church and the candlestick and the little reindeer. Oh, perfect. And there's even one that I want to somehow incorporate into our stamping here is the artful display. And some of these plates will look super amazing stamped, and then you could even make them more Christmassy by putting in a bell or the mistletoe or something to decorate the plate itself. So lots of options for this technique. So let's get started. So the secret to this technique is our guide, and this is going to become our guide. So I'm going to make it and color it in using Copic markers just because I have a lot of colors and they're handy right here. So what you have to understand is basically this surface is going to rotate every 90 degrees. So every time that you put a stamp in a certain position, it's going to change position when you move your paper. So for instance, if I put one stamped image in this square here, when I rotate my piece of paper, my stamp's going to stay in this position, but my paper is going to rotate, which means now the stamped image is sitting here. I hope this is making sense. And then once you move it again 90 degrees, rotate it, it's again going to be sitting in that upper right hand center block, kind of in the center of that 9 block. And once again, you're going to do another rotation of 90 degrees, and that's where your stamp image is going to end up. So the secret to this technique is to know where to place your stamp and where it's going to end up in the rotation. So we're going to leave that as number 1, and then we're going to take another step. So for instance, I'm not going to show you all of them, but I hope you're getting the gist here. So this stamp this stamp section right here, we're going to make it teal, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So once again, our stamp is going to stay in position here on the paper. So by making yourself this funny little grid, you are going to know wherever you place that stamp, that's where it's going to end up as you rotate it. So just understand that if you're using sentiments or things that have a directionality to them, they are going to end up upside down at some point over your card, and that's okay. So I'm going to bring myself back to the top again, and once again, let's do one more. Let's use red here. Okay. So let's say, for instance, this block. So this is where I'm going to place my stamp on the grid. And you can rotate it whichever direction you feel comfortable, as long as you understand that this position never changes. Okay, so it's underneath the yellow. Okay, so basically I'm just creating a fancy schmancy cheater's creation. So wherever I place my stamps, I'm going to know where they're going to end up on the other side of my cardstock stamped piece. Okay, now you may also have stamps that are a little bit longer, so they take up 2. So you'll know, again, yellow and red. When I rotate, they're going to be yellow and red here. Okay, so I'm going to finish up my cheat sheet so it's easy for you guys to see where all of my colors, more my stamped images, are going to rotate. And I'll be right back and we'll get started with placement and having some fun. Alright, so I finished up my grid here. If you'll notice, whatever the center block is, it will just rotate, right? Because this is your rotating point, so just be aware of that. The directionality will change with each stamping because you're turning it, but just be aware that whatever this image is, it's going to be basically in the center of your block. Okay, if you don't have enough colored pencils or crayons or anything like that, just make some cool shapes or put some lines in it, cross-hatching, and just match it up all around. So I just use O's and X's. You could do swirlies and whatever doodles float your boat. Okay, so now this is going to become our guide in our stamp positioner. So I've got the original Misty here, and I'm basically just going to put my guide inside the corner of that. And the 6x6 does fit in the original. It will not fit in the mini Misty. Now this is the fun part where you get to decide what you want to put in all of those empty places. So I'm going to start with one of the dishes from the Artful Display, and as long as you don't put a stamp in the same color, you can put your stamps wherever you want on this, because as long as you have only got one orange and one yellow and one purple, it'll work. Okay, so one stamp per color. So let's start with a little plate, and you can leave some areas blank. They don't all have to have images in it. I love this little reindeer, so let's see. I'm gonna put him on the pink and the yellow. Maybe we'll put him like right in the center, and that's where the grid paper comes in. So you can basically center your stamp within those guidelines, because I've left 1/4 of an inch at the top and the bottom. So I know he's pretty much centered in there. I'm just gonna see if I can fit as many of these on here as I can. We have our little poinsettia from the Botanical Tree stamp set, and we're gonna go, let's go turquoise. So I'll put that within there. And then let's go to our fully stocked set. This is a Christmas stamp set from last year, and I love the little bell with the little pine bough. And of course you can put things upside down, because once again they are going to rotate and they are going to position themselves right side up again. Let's see, we've got yellow and pink already covered, so maybe we'll go blue with this one. So making sure it's within those lines, because if you put it outside of the lines, just be aware that it could encroach on another square's occupants. So just be aware. And again, you can always do a trial run first with even a piece of copy paper. Very, very handy. Let's see, we have our Merry Littles, and there are so many fun things on this. I love the little cup with the joy and the peppermint stick coming out of it. So let me see. How about we do Maybe we'll go here. Will it fit? Will it fit? I think it will. Okay, perfect. Okay, I like that. Let's see if I can get another one. I love the cute little bottle brush tree from the Merry Littles as well. We've used our yellow pink, we've used our teal. I think we just have to use our brown. Double check here, I think it's only my brown that's left over. Got orange, green, pink, yellow. Oh, red. So you can actually, I can actually put it this way. Or this way, doesn't matter. All right, and you know what? Because this one can be adjusted, let's put the word peace above it. And once again, it's because it's a collaboration of two squares, it will work. Once again, the piece, obviously when it rotates, it is going to be sideways and right side up and all that kind of jazz, but just be aware of that. Okay, so let's close the lid. Just going to firmly press, make sure my poor dirty lid is got all of its lovelies on it. All right, now what you need to do is you need to create a 6x6 piece of paper to do the next step. If you don't make it a square piece of paper that is the same size, number one, your stamps won't hit the right spots and your rotation will not work. So at least your paper needs to be 6x6 for this. You could make a smaller grid as long as it's equal in height as it is in width. So you could do a 5x5 and it would still work. You wouldn't put anything in the center of a 5x5 because the center would stamp on itself, okay? But you need to make the sheet of paper that you're going to stamp on the same size as your grid, okay? So we need a 6x6 piece of paper of whatever color we're going to do. Okay, let's go and cut one and I'll be right back. So my first example, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use just black ink because basically I want to be able to color in my images. Now, if you chose to use some colored inks, I would suggest, to make it easier for yourself, is take this and take a pencil and write into each block where you put things or where you want to put things. So this would be plate, this would be like mug and candy cane, and then this would be poinsettia. At least you have your little Bible piece here. So, and then you set this off to the side and you just do one stamp at a time and you can do what other color. So for instance, if you wanted all red plates, then you just put the plate stamp into your grid, rotate, 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 stamp everything in red, and then replace it with like the cup and the steam, and you do that in purple, like whatever colors you want. And this does not have to be Christmas related. If you, birthday, like think, you could have little birthday candles, numbers, little cake, presents, balloons. The sky is the limit with this technique, okay? So I'm just going to do this one with black memento because I'm eventually going to color it. I'm hoping this isn't too glared. I have to flip over the plate. It was upside down. All right, so we're just going to ink using one color because I'm going to assume that I'm going to color in this creation. So pat, pat, pat. The beauty of having this in a stamp positioner like the Misty is that if you don't get good ink coverage, you can just open that lid, add another layer of ink, and stamp away again. So love this tool. So I am going to do the deer again, just... Everything else is pretty good. Just do the deer. Okay, so there's the first stamping. I'm going to put my magnets up above, and this is where the rotation comes in. So just 90 degrees. Okay. All right. Okay, and I'm going to do the second layer. good press over all of those images. Okay, there we go, looking great. Okay, once again, move first. The trick is to always make sure that that cardstock is jammed into that corner, because it's the thing that is going to keep everything lined up and ready to go for that next layer. Okay. Good pressure. Double check that everything's stamped really great. Great. We're getting really nice impressions. And look at that. We're so close. And our last rotation, using our Memento Tuxedo back. See, and with that grid and our little cheat sheet, we have now completely covered that 6x6. Isn't that cool? So now I can take this piece of paper and it can become a background. You can make a really nice large card with this and put like a simple greeting down the center. The sky is the limit. It's like making your own pattern paper, basically. Okay, so you can have fun coloring. I mean, you could even go back, and if you can find a small stamp for that size of plate and make it more Christmassy, absolutely. Yeah, it's fabulous. All right, so let's go and change up our images, and we're gonna stamp a colored background next, okay? All right, we're back, and we're gonna do some colored stamping instead of just black ink here. I've got some of this little treed hillside and these cute little snowflake cluster from our gorgeous Action Santa set. We're going to start off with that. And for this card, I think I'm going to stick to the traditional good old reds and greens, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of pink. So we're going to position that there. And I figured instead of writing on your cheat sheet, because you can use it for future techniques, is that I've made a grid line, because we're going to work in this bottom corner grid. And this one's brown and teal, brown and teal. So we've got our, I'm just going to draw our fake little trees and our snowflakes, so I know that's where that's going. So it's my cheat sheet, okay? So let's pick that up in our lid. We can just leave our cheater grid down there for now. I am just going to use white cardstock again, just because it's easy. All right, so I'm going to use Catherine Pooler inks. This is Grass Skirt. We're going to start with that. Now these inks are amazing. They have really nice crisp color. And I am going to do a second layer because I think my Grass Skirt ink is a little on the dry side. So I have re-inkers for it. I can re-ink that later. But there we go. So pretty, so delicate. So once again, same as what we were doing before. We're doing a 90-degree rotate. I am going to use my magnets. And we're going to go and finish off all of our little trees and our little snowflake cluster. So I'll finish that off and then we'll go on to the next design. Okay, so we did our trees and our snowflakes down in the brown and the teal. So let's go to the corner here and we're going to use some red. So I thought, oh, well, you can't have anything but red hearts, right? So we're going to stick that in our purple and pick her up and put our cardstock in. And don't forget to write it on your cheat sheet. And we'll do one stamp and I'll show you how that looks. And this little heart stamp is from the Bow Wow Wow stamp set. And it's just darling. It's even stitched. All right, I'll be back with the next one. All right, so now we're gonna work in the red and the blue. I've got our cute little tiny wreath, and it's from the Wreaths Plain and Fancy, and it's basically meant to go inside one of our wreaths. So it's beautifully tiny enough to go and fit in there. I would like to put a sentiment below it if I can find something that fits. So I'm going to push that church up a little bit and put it closer to the top of the blue. I'll use my cheat sheet here to just put my church in, and it's about halfway down the red. Like my church? Alright, so let's pick it up. And we'll put in our paper. Remember to always shove it into the corner. That way everything will work just fine. Alright, this time we're going to go with Lime Ricky. It's just a different shade of green. To do this one again. It's the beauty of the Misty. There we go. And I'll do all the rest of the 4 and I'll come back and we'll show you the next step. So I found the perfect little sentiment. All it is a simple word joy, and it too is from the Wreaths Plain and Simple. So I'm going to go back to our red, because we've got red over here, and I'm going to put some red here, and that's going to kind of unify all of our card here. Beautiful. I'm going to do the rest of them and on to the next one. Haha, I'm going to sneak in here before we go on to the next one. I've done 2 red joys on the opposites, and then I'm going to use the color It's a Girl, which is a pink, and we're going to do the opposite ones in pink. So you do not have to stick to your little script of color there. You can kind of throw a twist into it. Ultimately, you don't have to move your stamp, you just have to clean it and make sure that you're ready for a new color of ink. How about that? There we go. Now we have a little bit of pink thrown in there. Alright, on to the next one. Alright, we have 4 spaces left. So we have the pink, the orange, the yellow, and the green. And I'm going to throw in this cute little mistletoe from the Fully Stocked stamp set. And we're going to do it in, let me see, we're going to do it in another shade of green called Garden Party. So let me throw that back in there. Throw in our cardstock. Oh no, I have ink. It's okay, I can use my sand eraser to get rid of that. Okay, this is Garden Party, another shade of Catherine Pooler ink. There we go. And once again, you could trade up all of the colors of green as you rotate as well to make it look slightly different. So this really does make for a fairly quick background, even though you're changing stamps and changing colors. And it makes it fun too. Why not, right? Alright. There we go. Okay. So this time we're going to put in a bow, and I think we're going to use the pink. We need some more pink put in there. And we're going to put it in the green space. Now this time I'm just going to plop it in there like such. There we go. Pick it up, make sure our card is in the corner. And we're going to go with our It's a Girl. I'm going to stamp it twice just for intensity, not because it's not inked properly. Okay. and I'll be back. Alright, so we have 2 remaining spots. We have pink and orange left, and I know I want some more red, so we're going to do candy canes in red, and then we're going to do warm thoughts to you in the dark green, just like our trees and our snowflakes. And the way I can do that and do both is by putting this one over here, so it makes it easier to ink so I don't contaminate one and the other. So it's another way to get your stamping done. So we want red. It's alright, I'm just trying to find my stuff here. Alright, we want red candy canes, and we want grass skirt colored sentiment. So this also saves stamping time and rotation time. I'm going to do the grass skirt again just to intensify. There we go. Rotate, rotate. I'm just going to stamp the greeting first. We still have red ink on our candy canes. There we go. 2 down, 2 to go. How cute is this coming out? So we have a really fun Christmas themed background paper. And of course you can make this your soul card background, put a greeting on, or you could put a circle, make it a shaker card. The sky is the limit. Alright, so I'll come back and I'll share a few of my card creations using this technique. Alright, we are going to start with our blue panel. After it was colored, I basically cut it into 2, and if you put the 2 pieces together, right about there, so you can see how they once were connected. Alright, this one I just used a little bit of vellum, tucked it underneath, and some blue pattern paper, and a simple embossed sentiment. And then this one, I die cut the edge, and I couldn't find a light colored blue that I really liked and that went really well with the light blue in my image. So I just used a Copic marker, and I created a funky kind of lined background, and that's all it is. It's just lines, a ruler, and a blue Copic marker, and simple sentiment. And there's 2 cards out of 1 piece of paper. Let's go on to the next one. For my simple black background that I colored up, I cut it into 2 long strips and used them kind of as central panels. This one just has a couple of pieces of pattern paper, and then this one has a knit pattern plus an oval kind of piece at the top. Really, really simple, and I used peace and love and joy to repeat what was in the images as well. Once again, this one basically is just the panel almost cut in half and then with decorative edges. I think this was my favorite piece to actually create. I had a lot of fun trying to get things to fit and finagled, and yeah, and it was really simple to make because all I used was 3 ink colors, and I decked off the first one with a little bit of Christmas twine and some gingham. And the second one is the same thing, it's just one panel with some decorative edging. I put some gold thread kind of tucked underneath, and I created my own background paper with 3 different poinsettias from some of our stamps. So there's the third panel, and on to our final panel. So for me, this panel was my most challenging. I think it had to do with the color palette I chose, but you know what? I persevered and made her work. So out of this panel, I actually got 3 different cards. The first one, I die cut an oval out of the panel, and then basically just added all my embellishments and added it to a funky piece of red and pink candy cane striped paper. Yep, great way to use that pattern paper. And the second card I created is this one, and it's a little bit more rustic and whimsical. I actually cut my pattern paper into a strip and then cut it into long triangles and mixed it up so they're not sitting next to their partners. And I just had some fun with some really simple snowflake images and put on a cute little sentiment and called her done. And of course the stitching and the curled edges just add to the whimsy. Yeah, this one was fun to make. Something a little different. And finally, the third card for this is this one. And because I had an oval shape cut out of my pattern paper, I had this big dip. So I went and found a die that actually kind of mimicked that oval shape cut out. And this is what I came up with. Plain, simple, with a little bit of sparkle. So, I hope I've inspired you today to get out some of your smaller stamps and sentiments, of course, just like these ones, and create some magical holiday cards or maybe birthday cards or any theme that kind of tickles your fancy, and have some fun stamping and turning them all about. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you come back. We'll see you again. Thanks again, guys.